Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm here with Sarah. We're going to be talking about the full moon in Gemini. Let's see. So, the full moon right now is all about communication. And it may be a time where we are speaking assertively without knowing all the facts. This is also a time where you may think that you know it all and you're going to have to like defend yourself and your views at all costs. And you may already be feeling this because of the holidays and just having family. And this transition of the energies kind of started yesterday into this morning. So welcome back to the crazy energy.
Hi, guys. And if those of you have been following us since the new moon in Scorpio and you've been doing those moon cycle manifestations, congratulations, because you made it through to the full moon. And this full moon in Gemini, I want you to think of the full moon as like a spotlight. So the full moon really kind of shines that light on that area that we need to reflect on. I know a lot of people are out there like full moon is about reflection. It's about self-care. It's about taking that time. We use the houses and the zodiac signs to kind of tell us what we should be looking at. So when we had the new moon in Scorpio, we had all those deep feelings. We had those mysterious, that undertone, that shadow. We just came out of eclipse season. Things were all kind of, our feathers were ruffled. Things were chaotic. That was very easy. This full moon in Gemini, she's not so nice. If you take a look at the big picture, it's Sagittarius season. That's a fire sign. The moon is in Gemini. That's an air sign. Fire and air, they go together really well if you're fire and air, but if you're everybody else that like screams disruption or destruction, destruction, whichever you feel.
Same thing.
Right. Gemini is duality. So you're going to hear a lot about communication. It's about conversation. It's between the head and the heart. It's between relationships. It's relationship with the self. It's with your spouse. It's with other people. It's in general. Gemini is all that. And those of us that have a little Gemini in our chart, we're very comfortable here. Like, we've ridden this rodeo. We're old hat at this.
And those of us who do not, we're going crazy. We are drained. We're all over the place. We're trying to connect our chakras, and we're just over here kicking and screaming because we don't know how to shut our mouths, because we need to shut our mouths and we just want to burst and just have all this stuff come out. And we just have to remember to breathe through it, because we're not used to being in this space, and it is hard.
Well said. It's hard, but it's necessary.
Yes.
Those hard feelings that come up, sometimes it's a little difficult to get to the root of that problem. And like our natural reaction, I feel like when we get really overwhelmed, is disassociate. It's so easy to do that today. Like you scroll on TikTok, 5 minutes turns into 30, turns into an hour. Like you can get lost. Turn on Netflix, find one show, binge watch that, play video games. Like you can actively disassociate yourself, distract yourself from anything that's going on whenever you wish. Like it's in your pocket. It's in your hand.
Mm-hmm. But that's not going to get you anywhere.
No. And taking the time, absolutely. And taking the time to like sit with yourself, it's going to do you such a better service in the end. And you are going to actually acknowledge those things that you are actively avoiding, and then they're not such a problem anymore. So as much as everybody else is kind of like squirming under this full moon, I encourage you so strongly to just take a deep breath, dig into it. Like if you have to go take a walk or burn off some extra energy before you sit down and have a conversation with someone, please do that. Like absolutely. If you feel like your tongue is going to be venomous, it will. It will.
Yeah. It's definitely time to check, like think before you speak kind of energy. And it's very notice what you want to speak out. Very, like acknowledge and put attention and pay attention to what is trying to word vomit out of your face, because those feelings and those emotions that are trying to come out is probably exactly what you need to look at this time.
Yeah. I also encourage people, dig deeper. Like if you're talking about someone else, if someone has done something that's really triggered you, I really encourage you not to use you language or they language. Use I language. How are you
Mhm,
feeling? What is that causing within you? Because we can't fix other people. We can't control other people. And it really has nothing to do with them.
mhm.
They might have been the trigger or the catalyst for whatever you're feeling. But ultimately, this belongs to you. So, what inside of you do you need to acknowledge? If you're more of a non confrontational person, then you don't have to do this with anyone. You can still have big feelings about somebody else and have this conversation with yourself. Remember, that Gemini likes to have this conversation between the head and the heart. Just, it doesn't shut up. From personal experience, it doesn't shut up. So it's a constant dialogue there. If you're not used to that, set some space for that to open up. Like, write it down, you to you. Like, envision the Kermit the Frog meme, the one with the hood and he's the villain and the other one's with the T and he's kind of nice. Yeah, like Diary of Dark Thoughts it up.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I agree 100% of look at the big picture. If there is something that's triggering you, do use that language because there all these situations that are being presented in this time is put in place purposely to help you grow as a person.
Yeah.
So if you are feeling triggered and you do have those triggerings with another person, ask why are you letting them trigger you, or why is this triggering me? That way you can start working on yourself because this is a self growth period where you can analyze the things around you and really go, like you were saying, go deeper to figure out the why do you get triggered from this person, especially right now, because it's all about communication and relationships. It's with your spouse, it's with your siblings, your parents, friends, it's all these things. So really just taking that extra step, and instead of being like, well, I'm just mad at this person. Well, why? What have you allowed them to do to you that gets you frustrated or mad or anything? It helps you because, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So they're just showing you things that you need to deal with. They're just presenting these opportunities and giving you an opportunity to heal this part of you. So just taking that extra step and just sitting with it and just acknowledging it, first of all. And if you don't know how to acknowledge it, I mean, Sarah's great at showing you everything. Um, so just really sitting with it and just asking yourself, how am I letting this affect me? And what can I learn from this?
And
It's a
guys,
good
remember,
start.
this isn't going to be topical stuff. This cycle started in Scorpio. If you
Mhm.
know a Scorpio, are they real forthcoming with like the inner? They'll tell you they are. Absolutely, they will. They're not. They know it. This is the deep. This is the mysterious. This is the transformative nature. Like, it's not going to be an easy, oh,
Mhm.
well, I see that very clearly. Even amongst the healers, I will tell you, I will
Guilty.
out so many of you now.
Yeah.
It is not on their like surface level. Like, they're digging in, they're going deep, and then I hand them all shovels. Deeper, please, deeper.
Yeah.
Because you'll get there, and then you could pull that thread. You could dig a little deeper. You could move some rocks, and you'll go even further. And
Mhm.
none of this will be bad. It's all for your good. It's all to like get this out of here. I feel for so many of you, this is such like foundational broken rock that just needs to be like excavated, like get it out. We know that it's there. We know we don't like it. It's just a problem. Remove it. If for those that are like, okay, if I acknowledge it, then what do I do? Self-care. Self-care. What does a spotlight do when you're working under a car, you're working under your sink, like in a dark space where you're looking for the root of a problem and then you see it? Well, you take the time to formulate a plan. All right, I acknowledge you now. Thank you so much that I know what you are. For some of you, it is just going to be acknowledging your own feelings. For some of you, it's really just going to be like getting to the root of how you actually feel, because maybe you've pushed your feelings aside for so long and caretaken or reached out or just put so many other people before yourselves. And that came very naturally. And it wasn't that you weren't taken care of. It's not that you're not taken care of. But at the end of the day, you just don't have enough time to acknowledge yourself. And that became a pattern. And those days became months and months became years, etc. and so on as stories go. That's done. We're done with that. Goodbye. You're going to sit with yourself. You're going to speak hard truths, and you don't have to like them to let them go. Sometimes we just have to go, yep, that is how I feel, isn't it? Sure is. Fantastic. And you go take a hot bath. Self-care.
I was going to say self-care. Yeah.
Don't punish yourself for any of this. I don't want to hear about anybody getting upset about what they discovered. Be proud of yourself. Celebrate the fact that you went through a whole moon cycle, that you took 2 weeks to like intentionally put time into yourself, dig up this stuff and get rid of it. You did it. And just because we know what it is and we know the root of the problem now does not mean that you get to go on and be like humdrum about what you found out. You did a lot of hard work on your own. And I want you to be so proud of yourself. Give yourself a lot of love, give yourself a lot of kindness, celebrate in however big or small way you want to. I know holidays are right around the corner for everyone. So maybe that's not a financial thing, but maybe that thing is time. Maybe you section out time for yourself because it is holiday season and there is so much hustle and bustle to keep going for everyone else. What if this holiday you prioritized you?
Someone needs to take a nap because I keep hearing nap. So that if that's how you want to do self-care of just resting, you need a nap. Just take a nap. It's okay. And it's funny when you're talking about like digging deep and finding what that is that's being brought to the surface. I was getting this image of like an archaeologist kind of like brushing, and they like found like this bone and they're like, what is this? And then they like for a second they like almost kept going, but then they're like, wait a minute. They had to go and bring this, and they like framed it. They put it in like this little glass case, and they're like looking at it through all these angles, through different perspectives, and like really digging into like, what is this that I just found? And that's kind of like what you have to do at this point of like, find what it is that's being brought up and look at it through different angles, look at it, examine it, and just kind of sit with it, honestly, for just a little bit so you can see why it's being brought up. And I literally keep hearing self-care, 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 because yes, you've gone through the moon cycle. Like you've gone through all of these trenches. You've gone through the muck. You've done the work. And it's being shown to you. Like, this is kind of like your prize of like, I know that you were going through the crappy part, but here you go. Here's your prize. This is what you won. Now sit with it. And then when you grow from this, it's going to be enlightening. It's going to be transformative. It's going to be just more positive in your life that you've been able to finally deal with it. Because I feel like it's been lurking in the shadows for a very long time. And until you deal with it and kind of release it from your space, then you're going to feel that freedom. You're not going to feel weighted down by this thing that you didn't even know that was there, the thing that was lurking in the corner. So, but self-care, definitely, and naps. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so squirrely today because I just am like hearing all kinds of things. And I feel like that's the energy too, is just with this full, all this energy is just dragging me down personally. And it's like, it's a fight. And even, like you were saying, for the healers, like this is such a hard time for us because it's like, we see things on a different level. And then we have to go even deeper into certain things. So there's a lot going on, especially for us. So don't think that you're alone if you're like, oh my gosh, I feel tired. I'm exhausted. This energy is draining. Like we're all going through it, but you just got to keep pushing. Just keep going, keep going, keep going.
Tenfold. And it gets easier, but I like your word. It gets squirrely. Because you reach a point where you can identify all of your feelings perfectly, not perfectly, but like quickly. And then you can acknowledge like your own healing and then other people's healing and why they treat you or say certain things this way because they're on their own, but it still doesn't change the fact of the way you feel. Yeah. It does get bigger. It snowballs out rather quickly. the whole purpose of us doing these lives and sharing this information with you guys and getting on here and talking about it is because we are growing a community to talk about all these things. We're not crazy. Like, the energy is real. Like, we can
Mhm.
feel this collective, like, heaviness, right? Like, just this feels like back of the neck tension where you're just
It is all back here. It is like the weight on your shoulders. The whole world just, ugh,
like when
it's a
you're
lot.
walking in court. I do this. No. Like, no, it doesn't have to be this tense.
Mhm.
If you know your emotions are out of whack, do not have any conversations today. Do not have any conversations today. Maybe for the next 2 days.
Yeah, I was gonna say next couple days.
Yeah. If you are going through big stuff yourself, like, kudos to you. One, you're identifying it. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry that this sucks, because it probably does very much so suck.
But you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Not
And
alone.
there is like an end. Like, there's an other side. That's the only way to heal it, is to feel it. Like, you got to
Yeah.
go through it. I would like to say that it gets better, but I don't think it does. Like, and astrologically, Mercury's in the shadow. Like, Venus is near the south node. Venus is love and relationships. The moon's love and relationships. Like, everybody's loving a little bit of tension, and everybody's liking to dig up the dark stuff, the deep
Mhm.
stuff, the shadow
Yeah.
stuff. So, is it going to get better? No. Is it all for a purpose? Yes.
Yeah.
That excites me. I'm here to help. I will be posting more things about, like, waiting through this time and just acknowledging more of yourself. But go easy. Go easy,
Mhm.
guys, because it is the collective. It's not you. It's not them. It's not the people in your immediate circle. It's not your workplace. It's everybody.
Yeah. It's crazy. And some things that you can do to kind of notice, or things that you may be noticing, starting from this morning, is I know this energy feels draining, but you might have a little bit more energy on like some projects that you've been working like behind the scenes, things that you aren't ready to show the world. So you might have like a little bit of extra energy for that kind of stuff. But also you may notice a little bit more of like paranoia or overthinking, or when you are communicating, the misunderstandings between what one person's trying to say and what you're trying to say. And it's like, it's all about taking different perspectives at this time, because if you're not looking at it from the bigger picture, you're going to miss what's really going on. So misunderstandings are going to be super heightened at this time. Um, Mercury is in Sagittarius, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's considered what, detriment, which means that it's unable to kind of fully express its energy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just got chills. So this could be happening to you as well. You not being able to express all of your energy, or your authentic energy too, is kind of what's kind of coming through as well. Um, let's
I
see.
also want to
Good.
touch on a little bit more, because that's kind of nature of Gemini, right? Like, Gemini is that duality. That is
Mm-hmm.
also like devil's advocate. Like, it's both the masculine and the feminine. If you fall in that category that Nikki was just talking about, which side are you heavily like weighing more towards? Is it more of this like shadow type energy, or are you more on the positive side of that Gemini back and forth? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's depicted in a lot of ways, right? Like, the man versus the woman, the yin versus the yang, the head versus the heart. Figure out what that looks like for you, where that imbalance lies, and then try to like come back up and meet it a little bit in the middle. Like, recognize that this is the extreme of one half,
Yeah.
that it's not the full picture. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like you were just saying, like, really try to zoom out and look at that bigger picture, but acknowledge what side you're on, and
Yeah.
then walk your way back to that medium so you can find that balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying a little bit earlier was, you're gonna feel like you have to defend yourself and defend kind of like your viewpoints and your just yourself and your thinking and everything about you, like your essence really. just because the energies are heightened at this time where for the miscommunications and stuff like that. So if you aren't taking that time and slowing down and thinking before you speak, things are going to get out of control. Arguments are going to be kind of, a little bit easier to come about because you aren't thinking, you aren't taking the other person's perspective. You're not seeing everything from the top view. You're just kind of feeling attacked at this time. And that's where I'm saying where the misunderstandings and stuff like that, you might feel honestly just attack of your person because you aren't taking that breath. You're not taking that step back to kind of see the whole picture. And then you can't really express your energy because you're just on the defensive and you're not listening. You're not actively listening to the other person. You're just like creating this thing in your head, getting ready to say whatever, come back that you're kind of, it's not good for anybody or any situation. So, and this is also because we are talking about relationships and, heated arguments and stuff like that. At this time, it might be, how do I say, like faded endings to connections that kind of that have overstayed their welcome. Most of that may be coming to an end, partially because of communication, but also because it needs to happen. These overstayed welcomes that you've just been letting come into your energy field, they need to be released. They need to be looked at. They need to be sat with and do that, like kind of like you were saying, that look at it from my perspective. What am I doing about the situation to allow a lot of these things to come to an end? Because I'm like all scattered. Like I said, I'm squirrely. We're holding on to so much in like energy for no reason. We are putting ourselves into a perspective for no reason. We're holding ourselves back for no reason. So during this time, when you are having these things come about, really take that look and see, does this serve me in any way? Is this person's actions affecting me positively? If not, is there anything I can do to never let that happen again, or to better myself or acknowledge what my triggers were so it doesn't happen again? And I'm hearing, kind of funny, simmering resentment.
Mm-hmm.
That may be surfacing. Even if you don't like initially recognize its presence, you might have to sit with it to recognize it, because I do feel like a lot of resentment is like going to be coming up during this time as well.
I want to jump in because I keep getting like, tell them how. Guys, I'm going to hack it for you. If you don't know that what Nikki's talking about, or how do I know if I've reached that point where I need to like end a relationship, or like if someone's that's been a part of you, because like this could be family, this could be like long-term, like childhood friend, this could be something that you're physically growing apart from, or you don't know how to bring it with you because it's not fitting, like square peg, round hole. We all gossip. We are human beings. This is a communication moon sign. We're all talking. If you find yourself saying the words, I wish I could just, in reference to how you're going to handle something with another person, then you're not operating out of alignment. Then you're not being your authentic self in that relationship, in that situation with that person. If you're telling another person how you wish you could do something, you're putting that out into the universe, but you are physically holding yourself back while you are in the situation, then you are not acting in alignment. Then these are red flags. Universe is telling you, hey, you're not showing up for yourself. So you're not showing up in this relationship. So this relationship is not fitting for you.
Yeah.
I know this can be hard to navigate at first, like figuring out these signs, figuring out like what these triggers mean, because we can sit here and say, okay, great, you're triggered. Like, yes, I want to spit venom at my, brother-in-law, at my sister-in-law, at, somebody, holidays, everybody, right? Like, yay, family.
Yeah.
I get it. Like mine's pretty.
We still got another month.
Right. We talk about this a lot, but I think identifying it can be really difficult. So much so that you do need to talk to another person. You do need kind of like a outside third party to be like, did you hear what you just said right there? that's why we kind of recommend journaling, because it's the conversation you have with yourself and you open that subconscious up to kind of freely write down whatever you
Mhm.
want. Journaling is also nobody's business.
Mhm.
Like, you could set that on fire and no one would ever know what was inside of it. You can be bluntly honest in any way you choose to be
Mhm.
when you're by yourself. Like, I'm not like condoning cruelty. Like, please don't walk up to someone and just like word vomit all over them. But you could do it in a book. And I feel like a lot of people, I feel like that resonated with quite a few. Like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. There's quite a few people that I wish I could just
Mhm.
write it down and light it up, because it's time to move that energy out.
Yeah, because we're holding on to all that negative energy, and it's just not serving us.
Manifesting as resentment and as bitterness, because where does resentment and bitterness come from? A lack of acknowledgement. And we're not acknowledging like our own feelings in a way in
Mhm.
that situation with that person.
Yep. And when we hold on to that energy, it gets stuck. And that's when our chakras get misaligned because that flow of energy is just not flowing properly through them. And when that happens, what happens? We get sick. We have illnesses. We have disease. We have all these physical things because we're not acknowledging these thoughts, these things, and they're manifesting into something bigger than they need to because we're ignoring them. Um, I just had a thought, and once again, it's gone. Oh, so yeah, like I said, squirrely is anything. So just everyone recognize this because I'm like all over the place. And if you're feeling that way, no, you are not alone. And that's why, like we said, we're doing this because we're a community. You're not alone. We're all here for it. Just like it's hard for us sometimes to recognize our triggers. For us to like sometimes it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling a certain way and I have no idea why I'm feeling this way. Even if I journal it, I still am not going to know why I'm feeling this way. Sometimes you do need to talk to a professional or get an outside view or talk to someone who no, they're screaming, no, 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 don't say that. We're not going to say that. So find someone who you trust, who you them. Don't vomit to your friends. Don't do it. Stop. I'm trying to say this and they keep saying no.
Not today.
Find yourself a professional and they can help you and they can help guide you because at this point, especially at this point, if you do start word vomiting to a friend, I feel like it's going to be held against you and there's going to be that miscommunication and releasing of relationships. So, yes, journaling is good, but if you're still frustrated and you don't know what your triggers are or you don't know why you're feeling a certain way, because I feel like there's a few people who are watching right now who are just like, they feel this way, but they don't know why. And even when they look at these things, they still can't figure out the underlying cause, the reason for why they feel that way. Yeah, so I would definitely say I would book an appointment. Honestly, that's my recommendation is booking an appointment because you don't want to do any relationship. It's just I'm just seeing like shattered glass, honestly. So I don't know what that means.
Also, remember, like, you don't have to have all the answers right away.
Mhm.
Like, sometimes it does come in layers like that. Like, just openly saying out loud, like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. For some people who don't admit that ever, that's a huge step. And I applaud you.
Mhm.
Absolutely applaud you. Even if it's just being overwhelmed just for the holiday season or just with family in town, I feel like it's, yeah, it's really relationship based, but it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge yourself, to say it out loud. And I feel like somebody just said like floodgates. Like, if I do that, like, it opens the dam. Yep. Yep. Correct. Yes.
You need
Congratulations.
to though. You need to
Yeah. That
because
is
you're just keeping yourself stuck and stagnant if you don't. Everything the working on yourself is only going to make you a better person. It's going to make your life better. Like everything around you is going to increase in positivity and just abundance when you start working on these little things. And I do think it's hard because I do remember a point in my life when I was going through like my first awakening and like doing all these things. It was just like, I am feeling all these things. I don't know where to go for help. I don't know who to talk to. I don't trust anybody, like all these things. And it was just so chaotic in my own head until I was able to speak to someone. And it was just like, okay, this all makes sense. Okay. And then, just you kind of figure things as you go, but don't think that something's going to arise and you're going to sit with it, you're going to fix it, and then you're healed for life. Life is a journey of healing. Like it's nonstop. We're always learning. We're always absorbing more information. It's not a one and done thing. Like, I'm sorry. It's just how we are.
And this end of this cycle, from the full moon until the next new moon, you're going to feel through all of that. So like those following the moon manifestation, you're going to this is that big reflection time. Like you're going to make your adjustments. You've had your revelations. You have those feelings bubbling up to the surface. These open conversation, these other like little triggers or nuances, they're giving you more clues to help you unpack like the stuff you've already started. Let this come to a close. Remember, you're the main character. You're in charge, and everything around you, whether you believe it fully right now or not, it moves off of your will and off of where you spend your time and your energy. If you're done with this, I feel like somebody's maxed out. Say thank you. Say thank you and start to close it up. You've acknowledged everything you can. Start closing. Okay, I've learned this. I acknowledge this. I don't want this anymore. Okay, I acknowledge this behavior. I choose to continue with this one. I see this relationship that's going to be put on the back burner. Make those calls. Like, this is going to sound harsh, and I'm sorry. You don't have to be the victim here. Not here, not within this conversation within yourself. You are so much more empowered than what you were ever taught to believe you were. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm immediately pulled to like my energy, and you noted like you feel squirrely. My energy is so pulled all over the place because like I see how much deep work everybody is going through, and like I can feel that. It almost feels like disorienting. Don't be afraid to just like put your hands up and go, okay, I need a break. I need a break and I need this to stop, because it will. It will. Like, it's not some reckless train that is like barreling down the track somewhere that you have no control over. Take a deep breath, do the self-care, release some of this from your mind and relax. Spend this next like week reflecting on this cycle, learning more about yourself, and relaxing into this new information. This is a lot to swallow, and it's a lot to process. And like Nikki said, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to fix all of these things right away. Let them marinate. Most of them took years to develop. Years, like almost your lifetime, if you will, for some of you doing like really deep childhood foundational stuff. Your entire lifetime, whatever this is, has been manifesting. So yes, you are strong and powerful and empowered enough that in a 2-week cycle, you can like shatter it and break it down. I believe in you. But to do a full demo and clean up and like rebuild and transformation, no, that probably didn't happen in 2 weeks. So be really kind and be really in tune to how you're feeling. Acknowledge that, be open about it. And for those not wanting to fight, maybe just acknowledging what you've been through with a friend is that's your communication. Maybe being that safe space for another person to open up about what they're going through. Because not all of us are having hard times. Not all of us are like struggling and fighting. Some of us are learning compassion. Some of us are learning empathy and how to like reach out and be more public with ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I know it's tough,
It
but it's
is. Okay. So what's some things that you may need to do during this time is, like we kept saying, is practice that self-care, however that care looks for you. Like we said, whether taking a nap, taking a walk, reading a book, just setting 25 minutes to the side to just not listen to anything, just to like sit with yourself or meditate. It's so crucial to take care of yourself, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of other people. Confront those uncomfortable conversations that you've been avoiding. Really sit with yourself and just acknowledge a lot of those things that you've been putting on the back burner, because they will show up and tell you something about yourself that you need to learn. You can also set some intentions at this time of just kind of where you want to be. Really envision where, once you kind of go over this hurdle and heal from whatever is being shown to you, what that looks like, who you are, you taking back your life and taking control of your life. What does that look like for you? Practice more self-care. I know, what is it? So hold on. Okay, so tending to your nervous system is going to be a big one. Drinking lots of water is a big one. Resting and reflecting is a big one. Trying to see what else they want to give me. Okay, so they want me to go into more of the nervous system. Our nervous system is in charge of like that fight or flight response. And whatever comes up, that's why we kind of have to hold our tongue at this time, because we are in that fight or flight, or, fighting with someone, that survival mode. So really holding our tongue and active listening during conversations, because you are going to be triggered in a way where you're just like guns a-blazing, you're swinging, trying to protect everything that's yours, everything you believe in, everything that you have. And this is definitely the time to sit back, take a breather, and breathe, honestly. And that regulates your nervous system, breathing. And it's so funny. I didn't even know why. I was told to put a bunch of breathing techniques this month. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'll put them on. If you guys need any way to breathe, I've got like 50 million of them on my Facebook page this month. So breathing, regulating that nervous system, just relaxing. That way you can analyze situations for what they are from those different perspectives, instead of just reaction. We don't want to be reactionary during this time. We want to be very intentful. What else? Trying to think of what else we can do. Really. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm hearing a lot of affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
So like, choose your words. Especially in the morning. Someone needs to make this a part of your morning routine. Like, oh, and also the shaking, somatic shaking. I just got that too for right now. Like, along with the breathing, like look that up. I don't know much about that, but that just came in, of like intentionally moving your body, waking it up, and like starting a routine. If you're trying to break a cycle, the best way to do that is putting something in its place for you of what you would like to do instead. Make your affirmations, your meditation, your breath work a part of this daily, like, new routine to get you out of that mindset, to break out of this cycle, to like wreck those bad habits.
Yeah.
Because it feels like somebody has a really sharp tongue, it feels like. And this almost feels like habitual. Like, you're very comfortable being confrontation, being that instigator, if you will, that aggressor. If you're being called to like reflect on that within yourself, because like my jaw gets really tight and like I want to physically shut my mouth, but I also know that I can't stop and I'm going to keep talking. Replace that with something better. You absolutely have the power to change that. You have the power to break that habit and break that pattern. We all do. And like Nick was saying, you have to make these decisions and you have to put practices in place to intentionally stop these behaviors. Like accountability is huge here, guys.
Yeah. You need to hold yourself accountable as well as other people.
Yeah. That's tough.
Another thing that you can kind of do during this time is, because it is all about your head and your heart. So you can kind of do some breath work with having one hand on your head and then one on your heart, and just transferring and connecting those energies, just connecting those chakras and just really focusing and bringing energy to these spaces. That way they can connect and communicate with each other. And then usually that comes out through your speaking, your communication, which is your throat chakra. So really being intentful on what you speak, and making sure your head and your heart come together in an authentic manner. And then anything that is spoken is authentic.
I agree.
I think that's a good one. And you can use stones too. If you want to use some crystals to kind of help too, that's excellent for this time as well. Anything else that we kind of missed?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything. I feel really good about it. I mean, this energy today is heavy. It feels heavy right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's
heavy. It's swirly. It's just, you're not feeling like yourself.
Absolutely. And it is the first day of this new moon. So we have today, we have tomorrow, and we have the next day. So like we're not even at peak here, guys. Yeah. Hunker down. If you're that person that's working on keeping your mouth shut, go climb in your bomb shelter, tighten that door, like do your self-care, and maybe like only converse with yourself for a little while. Like if you're trying to really break that habit and people are pushing your buttons, they are not going to stop. Tis the season, friends. Tis the season.
And I just heard, make sure you reread your text message before you hit send.
Wow.
Like that's a huge one, I feel like, is too, because like they were showing me, I'm like, okay, got it. Yeah. Don't hit send until you reread it. You're not looking for grammatical errors. You're looking for what message you are giving to these people.
Yeah, we're looking for a tone. We're not looking for grammar.
Yes.
It's all about the tone.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, guys. Be true to yourselves. Honestly, acknowledge yourself. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent. You don't have to like it to let it go. Just acknowledge it. Say, okay, great. I'm so proud of myself. And move on. It'll be okay.
It is funny because I am hearing like that duality. So like you said, if it's good, bad, indifferent, that's where you are at this time. This is where you need to just say, this is me. This is where I'm at. It's not who I am or where I'm stuck forever. This is where I am right now. Where am I going? And that's that intention setting. That's really picturing your future, being, working on those manifestations and stuff like that. So really setting your intentions for the you that you are going to be. So
I heard something. I did hear something. I want to add it real quick. We can only process something as fast as the slowest part of our nervous system. And that seems really loaded. It's not. It's kind of like forcing yourself through an anxiety attack. Mentally, you can know all day long that whatever you're feeling isn't real and it's based out of fear and like it's not actually happening, but your body is still going through a physical reaction to something. Your nervous system is still processing that reaction. As much as you want to expedite yourself through it and say, okay, we're done, move on, get in the car, go drive. No, you can only move through this as fast as the slowest part of your nervous system. You got to feel it to heal it. Be kind to yourself, be gentle in this process. And it takes as long as it takes. Like, we get there when we get there type vibes. The more you acknowledge and make that space for yourself, the faster it goes. But rushing and forcing yourself through it, not it.
Yeah, especially rushing, because then you might miss something. There's a reason why it keeps coming up. It's because you missed something. You didn't sit with it long enough. You've tried to sweep it under the rug and forget it was there, but then you're going to trip over the bump every time you walk over the carpet. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's all that we had for this this live. So sorry we did not answer any questions during the live. If you have a question, please just write it in the comments. We will be answering questions. We're kind of limited on time today. That's why we're not addressing comments or anything like that. So if you write it in the comment section, we will respond to you. We will answer you. But yeah, we're just a little limited on time. So we do appreciate everyone joining us today. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to either one of us or write the question in the comments, because, you know, if you have a question, other people might have a question and they might be afraid to ask. So just put it in the comments. We'll answer it. That way everyone doesn't feel alone. All right. Until next time, everyone.
Bye, guys.